shouldn't take long, Sister Joyce.
It was a joke.
It shouldn't take that long, but we're going to go into the ABCs of salvation. And like I said, everything we learned in church wasn't wrong, family. It's just, it wasn't time. It wasn't that season for, I think the Most High, and I got the chance to tell my mom before she passed, I think the Most High that she did raise me in the Sunday church. Because when I got an adult and was doing wrong, I knew it. I was around people who had no conscience of what they was doing was wrong. So the Sunday church, it was a good foundation. But like Apostle Paul says, now it's high time to awake from slumber and come back to the covenant. Every scripture says, we read it today, come back to the ancient path, not the new path. He says, return to the ancient path. So the ABCs of Christianity, Slovakia, the ABCs of salvation is very necessary to save souls. And those are your handouts to take. You can, if you want to have a color copy, I will send you the file and you can go to Staples. And I just can't afford that cost. Yeah, it's $750. That's $750. I said, I did quick math. I said $750 times 10, that's $75. I said, Father, I want to do the work for your people. I said, but I got to check it in the safe. So I said, shoot, my baby got all kind of house project in the house and whatnot. I said, man, listen, I got to get this black and white. But if you want the color copy, just let me know. I'll send you the file and you can have a color copy. But these are yours to mark up because y'all know we just scratched the surface with these scriptures, and these scriptures are like a car. When you see a car from your family and friend, you start to see that car all over town. And you think everyone just got that car. No, just someone around you just got it, and now you're recognizing it everywhere. And that's how these scriptures are. Once someone show you one of these scriptures, like Zamaria just did, it pops off the page. Like, oh, that's one right there. So these are yours to mark up and use these as tools to help people, to save people. We're not sharing out the water for that. Sister T, we got your pamphlet here when you make it back to the buyout. We're just waiting on you, sis.
Yeah, when you come back.
So these are yours to mark up. And I know we have a visitor, Mom, first time you visit, next time your family. And I hate to put our business out there, but y'all seen that incident with the brothers fighting each other. And I was so embarrassed. I was hurt. And I don't know those brothers at all. Y'all know we don't move like those brothers. We don't talk like those brothers. We don't teach like those brothers. But I was embarrassed because the public's going to see that and say, oh, that's how the Israelites do. And it's like, no, that's not how the Israelites do. But that's the result of going out to the streets with the wrong spirit. When you go out there with the spirit of, I know everything, and I'm going to show you what you don't know, that's the result. When you go out to witness, you have to have the spirit of a servant. And you have to have the spirit of a doctor. You're there to heal. Now, like the slave ships, they used to that whip or crack us open, and then for more torture, the slave masters will put salt in the wound. So you don't want to, the people are already lost in sin. They don't know hopping around, bed hopping is a foul to the Most High. They don't know that smoking blunts till you can't see is allowing spirits to come into you. So you're supposed to be out there as ointment, like the balm in Gilead. But when you go out there with that spirit of, now I'm going to cut them down, I'm going to show them what they don't know, you get brothers out there, both got fringes on, both quoting scriptures, now y'all fist fight. Where's the spirit of Yah at? We're supposed to be uniting to fight against the nations. There's going to be a time when we physically fight the nations. That's why we're called the battle act, but we're not supposed to be physically fighting each other. That's when you know they don't have the spirit with them. And it starts from their leaders, their teachers. Their teachers are puffed up. Just because I'm a grade ahead of you, don't mean you can't show me a better way to do fractions. How many of y'all had classes in high school? Now, if you were that person, don't say nothing. But How many of y'all was in 9th or 10th grade and had a senior in your class? He was like, oh, what you doing in here? It's like, I never took it or avoided it or I failed the class. So some of the seniors I was around was humble enough, like, hey, B, you kind of smart. Help me with that. I'm like, cool. Like, because I know you from my block, you from my hood, I'm going to call on you later. But it was a humble person to say, this 14-year-old, this 15-year-old can help me. So no matter how much you grow in this walk, you're still a babe to the Messiah. You're still a babe to the Father. So don't get so puffed up when no one can tell you anything. We got brothers now just doing grandiose stuff and you haven't mastered the ABCs. Get the ABCs in your soul and your rawak before you try to do something grand. Let me get out your way. So I thank you for that one amen in the back. Thank you, brother. So the ABCs of salvation, are you saved? That was a question in the 80s. We heard it so many times. I'm saved. I know I'm saved. It's like, okay, are you saved according to the text? Shemaiah, take us to Mark 13 and 13. Mark 13 and 13. Y'all know how we do. Just let your hair down, take your wig off, take your teeth out. We got snacks, plenty of water. We're just here to learn. We're not nobody special here. Mark 13 and 13. Shemaiah, when you have it, read.
And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
Say what?
And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
How many people hate Christianity? I saw, and me and Gina, she done adopted my spirit, but we make fun of people when we see people out to ourselves. And one year around December, we seen Muslims Christmas shopping. I'm like, this people, they had on their Muslim garbs, and I'm like, y'all say Messiah was a prophet, but you're worshiping his birthday. So no one hates you when you're doing the things that Rome sets down. No one hates Easter. No one hates Christmas. No one hates Thanksgiving. So what's the sign of a true worshiper? Read that again out.
And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
Uh-huh.
But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
So what?
But he that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved.
So endure to the end. Y'all went to their schools. That meant you ain't saved right now. You have to endure to the end. I've been trying to reach these Christians on Facebook. I'm like, I'm just putting it out there. I know you're gonna respond because your pride's too big. But Paul is your champion. Paul says, I have fought the good fight. Wait a minute, Paul, what you fighting for if Christ paid it all? Paul, what are you fighting if Christ has paid it all? Because Paul knew the culture. Christ resealed our covenant, but you still got to walk. The scripture says, walk in his ways. Walk in his ways is action. You're doing something. When Paul's life was on the line, he says, wait a minute, I have never transgressed the laws of my father. So what do you get this? All I gotta do is believe. No, you have to endure to the end. If Christ paid it all, what are we enduring? The persecution, the scoffing, the loneliness. Or you think you're Israelite? Or you think you're Hebrew now? Or what, you trying to eat lamb now? That scoffing, it hurt. When it comes from family and friends, that hurts. We came from the same womb, and that's how you talking about me behind my back. So we have to endure these things. Mariah?
Matthew chapter 7. Matthew chapter 7.
Matthew chapter 7. It might be a repeat, so don't worry about it. Keep going.
Okay. I'm gonna start at verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
This is, what color is the letters?
Red letter.
Okay. Now, enter ye into the straight gate. In order to enter into the gate, you gotta walk it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because straight is the gate. That word straight means hard.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't mean like straight, like one direction. No, this is a hard, grievous, travailing path. The Messiah is saying to go through this way, go the hard way. And narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find. These mega churches got 70,000, 50,000.
Come on now.
20,000 plus people.
Come on now.
And not a single one of them talk about repentance, keeping the commandments, honoring the feast days with the testimony of the Messiah.
No fear.
No fear at all.
No fear.
Verse 15. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. I'll stop right there. We know the seed that bears the fruit is the word. The word of who?
The Most High.
The word of the Most High, who is from the beginning. So his word is the seed. And when you do the things that he loves, righteousness, the law, the fruit is going to show. So instead of you seeing the brothers fist fighting out there, you see them loving on them. Instead of them putting people down, you'll say, look, man, we all been deceived. We all were tricked into thinking this Christianity was it. But now that the Most High has been pouring his spirit out on us, now we know better. And we're starting to see the tricks of the devil that's been keeping us down.
Sister Joy, the water for that out. Sister Joy.
The projected size of danger of religion 2023 Christianity. Islam is 25%, unaffiliated 15.2%, Hindu 14.9%, Buddhism 6.6%, all religions 5.6%, Sikhism 0.3%, other religions 0.8%. So just thinking about it being the narrow way, it's like we're not even on the list.
No one knows who you are. We let the team showing up with no jerseys. Yeah, all praises. So Christianity is leading the list with 31%. And the Messiah himself said, narrow is the way. So even, and I'm glad, Nariah, you included the Israelites, because even Israelites, and y'all too, y'all guilty of it too, when you're looking for stuff on YouTube, you check how many views it got. If it got a lot of views, maybe interesting. If it got 10, 20 views, it's probably boring. Just like those restaurants we talk about, the dirtiest restaurant, you go there, chicken be slamming. So all these organizations got all this great structure, and you guys got numbers. What's attracting to these people? We seen that brother come in on a horse, and I'm looking at the women crying. Is he Messiah? If you're crying for him, what you gonna do when you see Messiah? You got men clapping. I made a conscious decision, even when I was a Christian, I'm not doing anything for a man that I do for the Most High. So when they say give the Most High and clap, well, if I'm clapping for the Most High and you're a man, I'm not giving you that. I praise the Most High for you, but I'm not giving you a hand clap if we do the same thing for the Most High. These people in the video, and he had the audacity to be like, you just got your reward. You just got your reward. That's why I'm so careful. I don't want your adoration. I appreciate it. I'm a dirt bag. I'm a dirt, and I shouldn't be here. Like Hezekiah says, we should be dead. We played that for the people yesterday. We kept it on repeat. We should be dead for the things we did. Swimming in sin. Kept lying. Oh, God, get me home tonight. I won't do it again. 4 o'clock Friday, you coming out? Yeah, I'll be there. We should be dead for the things we did. So the water for that, let's get into it. It ain't gonna take that long. So the ABCs of salvation. It is simple, and you do have to do something. And the first letter is the A. You have to acknowledge. So even with the ABCs of Christianity or ABCs of salvation, you yourself as a Christian is still, you're contradicting your theology, because your theology is saying you don't have to do nothing. You can't do nothing. You can't do any works for salvation. But when your A, I believe their A is admit, believe, and confess, right? We got some faithful Christians in here. Most I think everyone was different, but I think what Verse said, that's how our church would admit, believe, and confess. So even with your ABCs, it's contradicting your theology, because your theology is saying you can't do no works. But when you admit you're doing work, because how don't tell yourself, I'll be the one. How many can confess when you finally admitted something? It was hard. It was hard to admit that I was addicted to alcohol. Because, you know, man, like, bro, I do it because I want to. I can stop anytime. But to look yourself in the mirror, like, you got a problem. That's work. To admit that you can't keep your word. That's work. To admit when your wife accused you, it hurts, but it's like, you ain't did nothing you said you was going to do. And you have to go about like, man, she's right. So even admitting that you're a sinner is work, Pastor, Dr. Seminary, that's the work. You're cutting your own self. What are you teaching the Most High's children? So you have to admit something. Let's go to the first precept. Navari, let's get the first one, Jeremiah 13, 3 and 13. We'll turn this into a block party, get through this. Jeremiah 3 and 13. Let me use you out.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 12, verse 11.
That's how they do. I go to the first of interest, but when you go there, it does be like that. Now you see why we be here 4 hours, Sister Joyce. These your peoples.
The book of Jeremiah, or Jeremiah, chapter 3, verse 11. In Jeremiah, Yah has.
There's two different schools of thought. It depends on the root. Yah has increased, because Ram, again, their word room means space, right? So your Ram, Yah has made room. Yah has increased. Yah has increased.
Verse 11. And the Lord, Yahweh, said unto me, the backsliding Israel hath justified herself more than treacherous Judah. So he's comparing the two. We have split now. You have to understand, you always have to have Israelite history to the forefront. This is after our split. We as a nation are divided now. So he's saying, Judah, you're justified yourself more than the northern kingdom. This is not talking about two different nations. We're all the same Israelite nation, but now we split. It's the north versus the south. That's what he's talking about. Read. Verse 12. Go and proclaim these words toward the north and say, return, you backsliding Israel, saith Yahweh, and I will not cause my anger to fall upon you. So he's not saying go to the north and tell the Gentile. No, it's the north, we're in Judah. So he's saying go scream this up to the north, Tazapon, go to the north of Judah is Israel, northern kingdom. They just became known as Israel, and we became known as Judah. So he's not talking about go to the north of Russia or Germany. No, Judah, you Judites, you Judah, go towards the north and scream this to your brothers. That's what he's saying. Come. For I am merciful, and I will not keep anger forever. Verse 13. Only acknowledge thine iniquity. Do what? Acknowledge thine lawlessness. That you have transgressed against Yahweh. So what is iniquity? Lawlessness. And what if that? So you have transgressed against the pastor? The Most High always give you the definition of what he's talking about. So when we go to these churches, they got a whole bunch of rules that you can't do in this church. You want to sing on the choir,
None of this is in the Bible. None of this is in the Bible. The Most High tells me how to please him. Read that again,
Verse 13, only acknowledge thine iniquity,
Uh-huh.
lawlessness, that you have transgressed against Yahweh.
You see the definition right there? Sin is transgression against the Most High, not against your pastor, not what your wife told you, well, you don't love me because you ain't bought me no flowers today. What verse is that? No, I'm loving you according to the Most High. I'm ordering my house right. I'm teaching you the law. None of us, we got Israelites. I posted a couple of weeks ago, cussing is a sin. Now, I don't practice cussing. And I don't think us as royal people should use that language, but big super Hebrew, you can't invent sins like the Christians. Ain't no verse that you, because we have no verse that talks about language. Have y'all found one? So no, should we be out there using 4 letter words? No, we're royal people. We already are in a foreign land, depressed. So why you want to use the base language of these people? But to say that it's a sin, you just added to the book. You just violated the law trying to make a new law on people. Be careful who you listen to out here, family. Read on out.
Verse 13 continues. So verse 13. Only acknowledge thine iniquity, that you have transgressed against Yahweh, your God, or power, and have scattered your ways to the strangers under every green tree.
I'm sorry, you got to roll under every Christmas tree.
Under every green tree.
Y'all see the correlation right there? That pine tree is not arbitrary. Nothing they give us to be joyous is arbitrary. We was telling the family yesterday, y'all just had Mother's Day. And you think it's a coincidence that they sell a bunch of flowers on Mother's Day? No, the flowers are giving honor to Mother Earth. They keep us blind and lost, not knowing. We think we're doing something good, even feel guilty when you can't. How many times you called your mom, Mom, I ain't gonna be able to get you nothing this year? And she's like, I knew that, baby, you ain't kept a job. we feeling bad because we can't buy our moms nothing. It's pagan anyway. So everything they giving us, family, is to keep us in sin. They know we shouldn't be buying no flowers and crap for your mom because it's for the Mother Earth. We finished that about. I'm gonna get out y'all way. This coffee got me. They don't know how you this. It's that home brew. They the
You have not obeyed my voice, saith Yahweh.
You have what?
You have not obeyed my commandments, saith Yahweh.
You see it? This one verse, we can have church in here. This one verse keeps you out of sin. This one verse keeps you out of hell. You have transgressed against my law, and then, okay, if you need more, I'm gonna make it plain for you. I'm gonna dumb it down for you, Israel. You have not obeyed my voice. I hear what the rabbi is telling you. Oh yeah, wash your hands 5 times and then put your right shoe on first. And then before you put your right shoe on, say a prayer and then put your left shoe on. Rabbi, where is that at? You have not obeyed my voice. Stop listening to those Pharisees. Stop listening to the pastor and obey my voice. Do we finish that up? The water about for that. Zamoya, take us over to Jeremiah 14 and 20. Jeremiah 14 and 20. These are surface scriptures. Don't need too much breaking down. We're going to get through it. Jeremiah 14 and 20. Read.
We acknowledge, O Yahweh, our wickedness and the iniquity of our fathers, for we have sinned against thee. Do not harbor us for thy name's sake. Do not disgrace the throne of thy glory. Remember, break not the covenant with us.
So that's all we need. It's right there again. We acknowledge. So the Most High told us that everything must be established by the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. You just can't give me one verse and then start that organ going and hooping and hollering, sweating. Let me take my jacket off. I'm really preaching in here. No. Pull your witnesses to prove what you're saying, Pastor. So we got another witness. You have to acknowledge that you did the Most High wrong. Not you did your pastor wrong, you did your mother wrong. You're doing the father wrong when you disrespect your parents. You're doing the father's wrong when you lie. when you don't go to work, you don't keep a job. You're doing the Father's wrong. That's who we get our rules from, not no man. You don't need no college degree. It's right here on the 3rd grade level. You can read this. They don't want to read anymore. I had a long week. I just want to feel good. I just want to feel good. Church become a club now. Did we finish that about? And take us to Hosea 5:15, Ant. Hosea 5:15. Hold on, give me a second out. Hosea, his name in the Hebrew is deliverance. Deliverance. Hosea 5:15. Read.
Hosea chapter 5, verse 15. I will return again to my place, so they acknowledge their offense. Then they will seek my face. In their affliction, they will earnestly seek me.
The Most High is telling the Israelites, I'm going to return to my place. Y'all understand the magnitude of that? He's leaving us. He's leaving us. He's dwelling with us when we're sinless. But y'all keep sinning, y'all stink to me. I can't keep staying around you. I'm trying to be patient. Son, stop being a drunkard. Son, stop being a whoremonger. Stop lying. I'm trying to give y'all some mercy, but I got to go return to my place until you acknowledge that you did me wrong. That makes sense? Again, it's action. It's action. This work, this lifestyle you're a part of calls for you to action. This name it, claim it, you got it. It's not in the text. We get saved and come up in front of the church and repent and take the arm of fellowship. Now they're telling you you're going to be blessed out this world. You go home, the devil knocking you in your head. Because soon you try to come to the Father, Satan hates you. Soon you try to come back to this covenant, Satan wants what you got. The Son himself, Messiah, says, as soon as the word of Yah is sown, Satan comes immediately to take it from you. So don't think you sitting in here getting this word that it's going to be peaches and cream. I go through hell throughout the week. I got to walk through people, share bathrooms. These things come out the same bathroom I'm trying to go into. Like, I don't even want to go in there now. It's hell to be around these people. Then you got your own demons you're fighting with. That whole Christianity, I'm new, I'm born again now. Nigga, please. Everything you've been struggling with is still with you. It's still with you. You've been sitting in horror for 30 years. You think one confession is gone? You got to fight daily. Stop being a punk. Stop being a crybaby. Man up. What if Messiah cried? He said, you think I can't call 10 legions of angels to come get me? He said, I'm going to take this for my people. He didn't cry, Father, I can't do it. Please do it. No. He took that for you. So when you're crying and you're sinning, your mess, man up. Messiah manned up for you. Stop being whipped by these oppression, depressions. You got something out?
Question. Just my understanding. We were talking about what you just said.
Hosea 5:15 or the one before?
Where it talked about he was going back to his place.
Hosea 5:15.
So I guess my question would be, because I know the word says that no man has seen him live. So when he talks about him returning to his place, it's just talking about his presence, right? Like his walk.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Al.
Yes. Just to get more clarity and understanding that him returning to his place. I know that no man has seen him live. So is that him returning to his place just talking about his spirit or his walk, or is that talking about? I know this might be a little deep, or is that talking about? Is that a metaphor for power shot? Because I know that we said that he hasn't necessarily entered into this atmosphere.
So it's the latter of what you said. This is his spirit, because the Most High is a spirit. The Most High doesn't have a body. He only gave a body to his Son, but his spirit, him dwells with us. That's why the custom we have here about taking our shoes off, we got that from the Torah. He said, he told them when we come out of Exodus, he says, when y'all use the bathroom, take the end of your sword and take your waist and bury it, because I walk up and missed Israel. So he dwells with his people. He's been designed to dwell with us. So this is literally him saying, when y'all keep sinning, I'm going back to my throne. Yeah, he's going back home. But if we're sinless, he'll be right here with us. So the demons, those homosexual demons at your job trying to get to you, those horror spirits trying to get to you, he's right there like, pure, nope, that's my son. He's doing the matrix for us and we don't even know it. But when us as a nation, we're bogged down with sin, I can't stay with these people. I got to go back. So that's what him saying, I'm physically with Israel, even though they can't see me. His Ruach is with us.
So his Ruach was with us
before his son came.
All right.
Before his son came.
See it. This is one of you really captured it broke me down. It broke me down. I'm gonna start at verse 1. We'll read it pretty quick.
Where you at?
See it, chapter 5. That's the chapter.
Shabbat.
Now will I sing to my well-beloved, song of my beloved, touching his vineyard. My well-beloved hath a vineyard, a very fruitful hill, and he fenced it and gathered out all the stones thereof, and planted it with the choicest vine, and built a tower in the midst of it, and also made a winepress therein. And he looked at it, should bring forth grapes, and it brought forth wild grapes. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem, and men of Judah, judge, I pray you. It said we're supposed to judge.
Mm-hmm.
But twixt me and my vineyard, what could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. So the Most High is saying, what more could I have done for y'all? I destroyed your enemies.
Mm-hmm.
I let you out of cast. I gave you the bread of heaven. I gave you water from a rock.
Come on now.
And y'all still doing this to me?
Come on now.
Verse 5. And now go to, I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the hedge thereof, and it shall be eaten up, and break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down. That hedge he's talking about is his presence. And I will lay it waste. I will lay it waste. It shall not be pruned nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain outside.
When we're lawful, he's with us. That's why we always pray before you leave home. You know, I always say back in the 80s, they'd call you a holy roller, always talking about Jesus. That's a holy roller. Don't go around them. But that zeal, we need that now. Don't get to work and take it for granted, because how many accidents did you pass on the way to work? Like I versed on that a couple of weeks ago. These other people, tires are coming off and it's fatal for them. And something happened to us and an Malachi angel just drift you to the side. That's the power of this covenant.
down in the street.
Everyone, y'all seen it yourself. Bro, we got all kind of, we had the United Nations running to help us. And we all big men with beards with fringes on. They didn't see niggas, they seen the children of Israel. Maybe the Most High was giving you a preview. The nations shall build your walls. The nations, their kings should be your servants. He's giving us previews of what's about to happen. I'm gonna get out y'all way.
Just going back off what Bryce just brought out in Isaiah 5, verses 5 and 6. When you go back to Isaiah 3, the first chapter, the first verse, he's saying, for behold, Yahweh Tazabah, will take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff. So of course, when you look at the Hebraism, the staff, which is what I'm thinking about, is that protection. And that staff being really what like gets us back in line. So like you said, that hedge being removed. And then it says the whole stay of bread. He already said he gonna take that bread away. And it says the whole stay of water. verses 5 and 6 is pretty much repeating that. Everything will be eaten up. And then verse 6 is talking about there will be no rain upon it. So I think understanding the Hebrews of it kind of gives you better understanding. It's something that I wrote down in April.
This is why we can't get out of here in an hour. Because what she just brought out, I never seen it before. Most High just gave it to me. Y'all all know that verse, I came in the volume of the book. He told the Messiah was like, listen, I'm gonna show y'all this whole thing. Y'all honoring the prophets is about me. She just gave y'all the Messiah right there. Anybody else see that?
Yeah.
The staff, shepherd staff. He's the bread of life. What came out his side when they pierced him? You see, this is Messiah right here. That's why people, I don't think he's the one. You got that spirit of anti-Messiah on you because you don't know the culture. These two verses tell you Messiah, I'm the living water. I'm the bread of heaven that came down from heaven. It said, Abraham longed to see my day. This is Messiah right here. Man, y'all gotta get that in your spirit. I'm sorry, thank you, Dr. Water. Go ahead, Abshi, I almost forgot you. Thank you, That's powerful. I can't remember, this is my mom's Bible. Abshi, you hear us out?
Yeah, I hear you. The water for that. I got a precept for your Hosea 5:15 that with the Most High going into his place. Go to Isaiah 26:21.
Isaiah 26 and 21.
Isaiah 26:21. Yes, the last verse. Shemai, when you got it. It says, Isaiah 26:21, it says, for behold, the Most High cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her again. So I just remembered this verse because it says the Most High cometh out of his place, and that same his place that you just used in Hosea 5. So you can expound on that because he's coming out of his place to do something too.
That's a great parallel to Hosea 5:15. He returned to his place because of our sin, and now he's saying, I'm going to come out of I'm going to leave my throne to bring vengeance upon the lawless. Great parallel.
Also, to add to that, I will also say,
you got your mic open up? Well, let's wait for us, Chef. Yeah.
he's trying to play through the
Is it your earbuds is picking it up?
it happened when I switched.
All right. Can y'all hear us? All right. All right, you said Gerald out?
No, I meant to say it.
After that, you was good. That was it.
Con, yeah, that was it.
All praises, great parallel. So that was the acknowledge. Just 3 witnesses that you gotta take action. So that acknowledge alone dispels Christian theology or Christian dogma that all you gotta do is believe. Especially when the elder says the devils believe. Satan believe. Is Satan saved? So those 3 precepts all said acknowledge your sin, acknowledge your iniquity. So now we got to bring out what is sin. What is sin? What is sin? Tom. So the 3 precepts all say acknowledge your sins, acknowledge your iniquity, right? And then we got the perfect example of acknowledging your sin. Verse, take us to, if you don't mind, take us to Psalms 51. This is one of the staples that I cry out a lot. I don't care what y'all think about me. I ain't trying to press y'all. This is one of my go-tos right here. Psalms 51.
Psalms 51.
Shamar, you have it? Read.
Have mercy upon me, O God, according to thy loving kindness, according unto the multitude of thy tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from my iniquity, and cleanse me from my sin. For I acknowledge my transgressions, and my sin is ever before me. Against thee only have I sinned, and done this evil in thy sight, that thou mightest be justified when thou speakest, and be clear when thou judgest. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. Behold, thou desirest truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden part thou shalt make me to know wisdom. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Make me to hear joy and gladness, that the bones which thou hast broken may rejoice. Hide thy face from my sins, and blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from the presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of thy salvation, and uphold me with thy free spirit. Then will I teach transgressors thy ways, and sinners shall be converted to thee. Deliver me from blood guiltiness, O God. Thou art my salvation, and my tongue shall sing aloud of thy righteousness. O Yah, open thy my lips, and my mouth shall shew forth thy praise. For thou desirest not sacrifice, else would I give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offering. The sacrifices of Yah are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. O Yah, thou wilt not despise. Do good in thy good pleasure unto Zion. Build thou the walls of Jerusalem. Then shalt thou be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, the burnt offering and whole burnt offering. Then shall they offer bullocks on thine altar.
So the church read this. Y'all learned this in Bible study in Sunday school, but they skipped the part where he says, do good to Zion. You can't take our scrolls and put them on the whole world. These scrolls, these texts is FUBU, for us, by us. But King David just gave us the template of the perfect prayer. Father, I'm trying to do right. Give me that clean heart. And then he says, he didn't say that we ain't the sacrifice. He says, you really don't want this. The Most High says, if I was hungry, would I tell you? He says, I own a cattle on 1,000 hills. So he says, not that you really want these burnt offerings, he wants your heart. And then the Hebrew words I never called when I was reading it, he says, you desire truth in the inward part. What is truth? You see how when the Most High give you your culture back, you can't get away from the law, the covenant. I desire truth in the inward parts, but truth in the inward parts, that phrase is Greek. That phrase is abstract. Father, how can I have truth in the inward parts? You want me to write, I will not lie in my heart? What is truth? In the Hebraic perspective, the covenant. I want this covenant in your heart. Said to be born. Listen, shake off that Egyptian mess, be born again, renew your mind, and the Most High's contract is no big deal. It's the same. You can't get away from the covenant. Y'all.
See, so whenever you went to the store with your mom, they spoke to me. You had that thing on the inside, but you knew they followed the instructions. Exactly.
Gerald had his hand up. And in my mind, I was thinking of my Bacalao, how we be coming up with those phrases.
I'm sorry.
We can clean it up, right? But you know, because you were saying the truth is in your heart. So that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, amat, what he just said, amat is truth in Hebrew. Amat, this says kalab is in your heart. Bakalab is in your heart. Gerald?
Yeah, they yeah, I don't know if the feedback, because we catching feedback on virtual. I don't know if it's on y'all end or
Yeah, no, it was us in here. Somebody had their mic open.
Oh, got you. All right. So yeah. So yeah, in context, you know, they familiar with that Psalms 51. They like to read it, but again, from the wrong context, because they're looking at it as sin because of Adam, you know. So, you know, they're not understanding the transgression of the law, the actual iniquity that David is talking about in context. So when you think about it, you know, David being the man who murdered, violated the law, being a man who committed adultery, you know, directly violating the law, and so forth, like people being killed by means of his sins, and so forth, like bloodshed. He's asking the Most High, forgive me, you know, remove all of these, you know, I don't want to be a man to transgress your law. So again, it's like we can't get around the significance of the law. Our forefathers understood it contextually. Christ first century believers understood it contextually. It's today that we're told that it ain't got nothing to do with transgressing the covenant. The laws, it's talking about Adam's sin. You know, well, okay, who set the standards of law? How do we know what breaking the law is? So again, that's just another, in true context, you can hear David showing us exactly what it's about. We live to obey the Most High's laws. And if we go against it, then that's the iniquities that we are repenting from, you know, that we're asking, you know, forgiveness for, to turn back to that, the laws, the standards that he set.
Beautifully said. It's just another testament that part of our punishment was a stupor. The Most High says, you don't want me, you don't want my law, I'm gonna put a stupor on y'all. Now you're gonna sit in this church and this man gonna tell you just to donate your tithes and believe what I say and you're saved, and you go home believing that. That was our punishment. The Most High says you're gonna eat defiled bread among the Gentiles. It was spiritual and physical, because all of us, most of us here from the deep South, my family eat eight swine 3 times a day. I go to grandma's house, grandma got some swine on the table, because that's what we had to do to survive. And our grandparents took those scraps those white people didn't want, and they made a meal out of it. So we ate physically defiled food, and then we had spiritual defiled food, the slave Bibles. You take everything about the Israelites escaping the freedom out your Bible, I'm gonna tell you what slave master in the corner watching Nat Turner and them preach. It's a testament. We are these people. We are not these spiritual people. We are these physical people. So nowhere you can get away from. The Most High wants you to come back to his contract, come back to the law he gave Moses. So perfectly said. Somebody else has something?
It's going to be Matthew 25, 41.
Matthew 25, 41. We can read it from the hard copy. Matthew 25 and 41. What you got out? You said 25 and 41?
Yes, sir. Really good. Yes, it has. Anyway, it says, then shall he say also to them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, ye workers of iniquity. Essentially, it's everlasting fire there for the devil. They go with the line. They read it. They rock soul. We bought into that vibe.
Right. Because even that phrase there, ye cursed. Why are you cursed? According to the text, why would one be cursed? Was all the way in the end of the book. Revelation 22 says, curses everyone who do not the commandments of this book. So nowhere you could get around it. You're cursed, you're in sin if you're not doing the Most High's will. So that's the perfect segue. What is sin? What is sin? Sister Joy, can you take us to 1 John 3 and 4? 1 John 3 and 4. We get our definitions from the text, not from a Greek curriculum, not from Moody Institute Online, not from all the theological seminaries they go to. We don't care about none of your curriculums, what you don't pay money for. Our definitions come from this text. We had that young brother out there a couple of weeks ago. He said he was a youth pastor, and he stopped to talk to us, and it was a very civil, very respectable conversation. So we engaged in him, and he had to be like 25, maybe 30, a young married man. And when he said he was a youth pastor, I said, awesome, a very good job. I said, so what is sin? I said, what do you tell the children sin is? And he went into his whole diatribe. Sin is doing. He didn't even think to go to the Bible. That's how you know church is not the way. This youth pastor trying to do a good work, what he think is good, and I asked him what his sin is. Instead of him going to the text, he's giving me how he's been trained. We're coming back to the covenant. We get our definitions from this book. 1 John 3 and 4. Shaman, read.
1 John 3 and 4. Whoever commits sin also commits lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness.
Y'all got that in your text? Anybody need that breakdown? Any shouting in here? You need me to run around, touch 3 neighbors, go in the parking lot and touch the car you want?
I think that, yeah,
It does a little bit better than that one. I do. I mean, I grew up with it, so I do prefer sometimes. Y'all watching A Real Marriage, just how it goes down.
For sin is the transgression.
Now, this is the so-called New Testament. We understand that this is not a New Testament. So in first century, what would these Israelites, what would these Hebrews understand this to mean? They would understand this to mean talking about what Moses got. They're not saying, oh yeah, the Messiah came and gave us something new. No, here's John. John is the last disciple. John is the oldest apostle to live. He lived up into the Roman time of, like, depending on which scholar you ask, John died of natural causes. He was the only one on record not crucified. He did get exiled to Patmos and put it in boiling hot oil. He survived. So he died of natural causes in Ephesus in 95 to 100 AD. This is that John. And he's saying sin is transgression of the law. This is the same John who believed on the Messiah. So he's not contradicting the Messiah. He knows, yeah, that's my king, but the king came back to reseal us in the covenant. And he's telling the Israelites of this century, sin is transgression of the law, not no new law, what Abba gave to Moshe. Every Hebrew will understand that.
I was going to comment as well, but it's crazy when I look at when we came out of the church and I hear the discussion about pastor and how adamant he's about when we bring up a law. And I look at how, even the societies, we still take the Most High's law and we obey what these societies say. Like, we can't just go out here and kill somebody or anything like so. I just didn't understand why he wanted to make me feel like if I say I'm keeping a law, then I'm going to hell, because that right there is like taking something away from the Messiah. And it was like a war deal. And it's like, but it's the same breath saying you will keep man's law, but the Most High said, what his law is, to lay out the commandments and everything. Was kind of like, we can't do that. We bought into this Greco-Roman concept. But I mean, it's like, it definitely is contradictory. Look at this, the Most High's word, and then think about what they taught us in church to believe. Like, you know what I mean?
The perfect example to explain what's happening to our brothers, because you know my brother, I love him dearly. He's a doctor of theology. The perfect example to explain what's happening to our brothers in the church. Everyone seen Django? The movie Django? Y'all remember when Django hooked up with the dentist, and the dentist told him, go ahead and pick out your clothes, and Jamie Foxx came out with that blue suit. That's us. We done got the shackles off. Now we can go to school and we analyzing them, teaching, taking notes. and you giving us a bunch of Greek philosophy, ain't nowhere in the text. The Messiah you say you work for said, if you love me, keep the commandments. Now, he didn't really mean that. Is that what you want to believe, Pastor? I'll take you one step further. He died according to the commandments. He died. Y'all lied on him and said he was teaching against Moses, so y'all got him killed. That's the law. If you want to get me mopped up, just have to go to the elders, and 2 people said he was teaching against Moses. That is a death sentence. So y'all had him killed according to the law. Now you tell me I ain't got to keep it. What sense does that make? Nariah.
Lost in Christianity, saying that the law is done away with. Is that word fulfilled? Well, I think what's
Matthew 5:17.
And think not, and he clearly tells you, just like you mentioned earlier. The Most High and your house tell you exactly what they're saying.
Right.
So he said, think not that I'm come to destroy the law or the prophets. So he just told you, don't think that I'm doing away with those. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
Right.
And a lot of times, because people don't have understanding of what words mean, they look at that word fulfill, and because of these Christian pastors and their zealousness of wanting to be motivational speakers and entertainers, they take that word fulfill and give a completely different understanding of what the word really means.
Yeah.
So they'll say, he said that he ain't come to destroy the law of prophets, but he come to do away with law because he completed it. But that's not what fulfill means.
So they would have to show me. They would have to show me after the Messiah's resurrection. You have to show me them fornicating. You have to show me them not keeping the feast. If he can't, if fulfill really means to terminate, you got to show me after his resurrection and after his ascension. Show me those Israelites, the apostles, not keeping the law.
So just say somebody at a later date wanting to learn about what we're speaking on, the word fulfill, a transitive verb. It is to bring into actuality, effect, or make real. To do, perform, or obey a task or order. For example, carry out. Don't think that I've come to do away with the law. I've come to carry it out.
How many of y'all this week fulfilled 40 hours of work? How many fulfilled 40 hours of work this week? So since you fulfilled your 40 hours of work, is your job done? You don't got to report back to Monday?
Yeah.
How many of us fulfilled the requirements for a high school diploma? When you fulfilled those requirements for a high school diploma, did your high school terminate? You see, even in their own language, your Christian theology don't make sense. And again, it's just the curses. Some of these men mean well. They can't see. That's why you should count yourself special if you have taken the time to do the work and ask Abba for understanding, because this is not intellectual. These pastors, my brother included, they done went to 4 or 5 year degrees. Some of these are people are business owners. So we know our people not stupid. We know you're not stupid. To fleece people out their own money, you can't be stupid. So the second letter is believe. And this is a big one because they stop here. But you do have to believe. That's something they got right. You do have to believe, because the pagan word believe is closely related to faith. But faith in our culture is amadah. I'm counting on, I'm standing on what's been established. So we do have to have faith or believe in something. Where we at? Chef, you just joined that row. Let's go to Deuteronomy 18 and 18. Take us to Deuteronomy 18 and 18. We do have to believe in the Son. I just put it out there. We do got to believe in the Son, but you don't stop there. You don't stop there. They done lie and says, Jesus is all I need. Okay, keep believing that. Keep believing Jesus is all you need. Deuteronomy 18:18. Shema, read.
I will raise up to them a prophet of their brethren, like thee, and I will put my words in his mouth.
So here's the Most High talking to Uncle Moses, and he's saying, I'm going to raise them up a prophet like you from among their brothers. So Creflo Dollar looks like us, but he's going against what Moses got, so he ain't the one. Joel Osteen, you definitely ain't from among my tribe, so you ain't the one. Every day is a Friday. It sounds good what you preaching, but it ain't in the book. He says, I'm going to raise them up a prophet like you. That means it's not talking about Jeremiah. It's not talking about Obadiah. It's not talking about Isaiah. Why not? Go ahead, mother. He's speaking of the Messiah because Moses was the first deliverer. I'm going to raise them up a second deliverer to deliver not the world, to deliver my nation. So the other prophets, I heard someone try to twist this, oh, this is talking about all the other prophets. Nah. The other prophets gave us a word of warning or gave us a word of encouragement. Go to Babylon and take this punishment, but Abba's going to come back and get you in due time. So the other prophets gave us words of warning or encouragement, but Moses and the second Moses delivered us. So he says, I'm going to raise them up a prophet like you. This prophet was Messiah. Now, there's more to it. Keep going, Chef.
And he shall speak to them, and I shall command him.
Say what?
And he shall speak to them, and I shall command him.
He's going to speak to them as I tell him to speak.
And whatever man shall not hearken to whatsoever words that prophet shall speak.
And you're not going to listen to what he's saying.
I will take vengeance on him.
I'm going to take vengeance. So I'm going to send a prophet. I'm going to send my son, and my son is going to speak my words to my people. And whoever of my people don't believe my son, I'm going to take vengeance on them, on Israelites. So you being Israel means nothing to the Most High. You being an Israelite, wearing fringes, not eating pork, don't mean nothing to the Most High. You don't believe his son, you're going to hell. So all the hotel money, you done flew over to Jerusalem, and you done flew to California, and I done feast with Rabbi so-and-so, and I done feast with Dr. So-and-so, it's all for nothing because you don't believe in the son.
Question. So,
Yeah, you way in the back.
So Jesus being God, then, so I just have a question. If you are God, then why are you receiving commandments from somebody else?
You smart today. You smart. It's just another proof text that our king, our Messiah is not the Father. You can't be the Father. We got Father and Son right here. And no matter how great Anthony think he becomes, and you can get 15 degrees and you can have a 10 houses, you will never be greater than him because he brought you here. That's our culture. So, so no matter what Anthony does, you will never outdo your father. So here's the father said, I'm going to send my son, and I'm giving my son to play. The son, and then the son comes here, and the son tells them, my doctrine is not my own, but the one who sent me. So what, did he go up in heaven and send himself down here? Is that what we're doing? He's playing Flash. I'm the born again son. I'm the father. He never told you I'm the father. He always says, I'm doing the work of my father. He said, if you don't believe me for the work's sake. Pastor, how is he God? C3. Sister Joyce, how you tell the sister, so God died? He's telling you, I'm the eternal one. I'm the creator. I'm the eternal one. If you're eternal, that means you never die. But you say you looking for a man who died for your sins. Pastor, you got to sketch that up for me. How that brother say that song make it make sense?
Ask his, what was his question again?
He was asking if Deuteronomy 18:18 is saying that he's receiving commandments from his father to give to Israel. How is this dogma or this theology that Christ is God? Because the church teach Christ is God. They teach he is God. He's the son of God. Even when he got baptized, the voice said, "This is my well-beloved son. Hear him." So the church is telling people, yeah, Jesus is God. We're like, I hear the apologists all the time. Like, yeah, he is God in the flesh. We got some Israelites teaching that. We got Israelites teaching that he's God in the flesh. No, he's not. You're God in the flesh. If you really, you're supposed to be God in the flesh. Who that verse I was looking for at work? Who that verse you pulled when we was at the Neil's house? 1 Samuel. That he put his name. We were supposed to be. It was 1 Samuel 17. That was a beautiful verse. We're supposed to be the representative of God on this earth. So if Christ is God in the flesh, you're supposed to be God in the flesh. But you're not the God, because that's why we call him the Most High. That the nation of Israel was supposed to be his fame on the earth. It was 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel 17. You brought it out at the Neil's house that Saturday. So if you look at it from a Hebraic perspective, all of you are supposed to be gods in your house, gods at your job. When they look at you, they're supposed to see the Father, but you're not the Father. When we see Anthony, we're supposed to see Verge, because he's supposed to be exemplifying what his father instilled in him, but he's not his father. That's the same relationship with Messiah and the Son. I mean, Messiah and the Father. When he came, when he said, "When you see me, you've seen the Father," he wasn't saying I'm the Father. When you see me, you see the Father, because I'm rolling out the play that he gave me. I'm not doing nothing he ain't told me to do. He said, "The miracles you see me do, I seen the Father do." So there's sick people in heaven? Huh? What you see me do, I'm doing because I see my Father do it. You ever see the little baby, I love it, little baby video was going around, he doing push-ups with his dad, the dad counting them out. He's doing what he's seen his father do. That's the only thing Messiah is doing. You got to,
It's about 2 Samuel chapter 8.
it was 2 Samuel, I know it was Samuel something. I was like, wow, I had to highlight it. It was a perfect precept to prove we supposed to be gods of this earth. Everywhere you go, they're supposed to see the Father. So this first believe is, you got to believe that he is the Son of God, and you have to believe that what he's saying he got from his Father. If you don't, all your worshiping, all your feasting is a waste of time. All your fringes you done bought is just costume. You just been playing Halloween. If you don't believe in the Son, you have no hope. You have no hope. When you find it out, just bring it out. Queen, take us to John 12:40.
I think actually I got it.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Actually, y'all go ahead. I'm sorry.
The water.
John chapter 12, and we're gonna start at verse 40. Go ahead.
Yeah, to go with that, Deuteronomy 18:18. I've heard various brothers debate, Christian apologists and even the fish people, trying to give their input on what they think that 18:18 is raising up a prophet. But even when you go to Deuteronomy 34, same book, Deuteronomy 34, and this is the end of Masha's life right here before it switches over to the book of Joshua. Deuteronomy 34, scroll down to just read 9 and 10, and you can prove a point that goes against whoever they think that Deuteronomy 18:18 is, or that has been fulfilled, or whatever kind of rhetoric is out there. Shemaiah, if you got it.
Shemaiah.
Deuteronomy 34, 9 and 10, it says, and this point just proving that it's not Joshua. It says, look, and Joshua, the son of Nun, was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands upon him. Okay, that's fine, because he was the next one in line, right? And the children of Israel hearkened unto him, which is Joshua, and did as Yahweh commanded Moses, right? But here's the point. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom Yahweh knew face to face. They just got through talking about Joshua, so it was not him. And we love Joshua. He did what he did, but he didn't know Yahweh face to face like Masha and any other prophets unto them. So it got to be somebody that knows him face to face. And Yahweh know him truly face to face because he sits at the right hand of the throne of Yahweh. And
what's that video game up? Finish him. That's a finisher. Because now when he was reading, Messiah says, no man have seen the Father except him who came down from the Father. So again, that's a perfect parallel of the water of Bob. Any other prophet they talking about like Masha don't fit the bill. It's only Messiah. So all these brothers with their great breakdowns and I've been this and in my catalog and take my Patreon. If you ain't accept the Messiah, you just been around here playing dress up. You might as well go back to church. So don't get it twisted. We keep commandments, but we know what side our bread is buttered on. And it's buttered on Messiah. The water of Abba for that, Op. Go ahead, Op.
Also, John 14:12. He was talking about
May have that coming up.
Messiah doing the will of the Father, with us being God. He says, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he do also. And greater works than these shall he do, because I go into my Father. So he was telling you, you have to be like him. You have to represent, go forth and do that work.
And then he says, I'm going to my Father. So what's he going to go back to heaven and be the Father too? Like what family that make, I keep picking on them because they're here. What sense does it make for Anthony to tell people that he's Virgil? Like, yeah, I'm Virgil. I'm Anthony too. Yeah, here I'm seeing Virgil. I'm Virgil. The big Virgil come down. You Virgil? Yeah, I'm Virgil. Yeah, I'm Anthony too. So you Anthony and Virgil? God, I'm getting messed up. Their doctrine makes no sense, but we're making fun. We having fun, but we need to help them. They're lost. They're sick. They've been idolizing these preachers, and they think these preachers got it. And you're caught. You telling us that Jesus is God, you are calling the Father a liar. Because the Father says, I will share my glory with no other. Oh, I'm gonna get out y'all back. John 12:40. We're going down to the verse 50, Queen.
Verse 40.
Shema.
Blinded their eyes and hardened their hearts, that they should not see their eyes, nor understand their heart, and be converted, and I should heal them. These things said Isaiah, when he saw his glory and spake unto him. Nevertheless, among the chief rulers also many believed on him. So not all the Pharisees were wicked. So the chief rulers are speaking of the Pharisees. So they want to tell us all the Jews hated Messiah. That's a lie. Nicodemus was a Pharisee coming to him. Nicodemus said, I believe you're the one. So don't give me this Christian dogma, the Israelites hated Messiah and rejected him, and that's why the Most High chose the church. What verse is that, beloved? It was the Israelites crying for him. So don't give me this Christian dogma that, yeah, Israel rejected their Messiah, so he replaced Israel with the church. No, he did not. No, he did not. Read on, Queen. Nevertheless, among the rulers also many believed. But because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him, lest they should be put out of the synagogue. You scared of man, but not scared of the Father. For they love the praise of the men more than they praise of the Messiah. Oh, you sure can play. You sure can sing. You love the praise of man more than you love the fear of Yah. So you want to keep doing what you're doing for the praise of men? Keep playing with the Father. Keep playing with the Father. Read on, Queen. Said, he that believes on me, not on, but on him that sent me. Say what? He that believeth on me, believeth not on me, but on him that sent me.
Isn't that Deuteronomy 18:18? Ain't that Deuteronomy 18:18? I'm going to put my words in his mouth. He's going to speak what I command him. And if you don't believe what he say, I'm going to kill you. Now he's saying what the Father said in Deuteronomy. You see how there's nothing old or new? The church told us this is the New Testament. No, it's not. This is the same thing we got in the beginning. He's telling you, if don't believe on me, you don't believe on the one who sent me. Read on, Quinn.
If you don't believe in what I say, at least believe in him that sent me to, or if you don't believe in me, believe in him, the one that sent me.
Pretty much what he's saying, like, don't look at me. I'm nothing to respect, but respect the one who sent me. So you're right, mother.
If you don't believe, you don't believe.
Right.
I'm just giving you business.
But he wanted them to take, because he didn't come in the package that they was looking for. Like, our deliverer is going to come in a Bentley Maybach and he's going to have diamond rings. And then this man show up with torn clothes on. It's like, oh, this ain't our king. So he's trying to tell them, stop looking on me and look on what I'm doing. Since I've been here, I healed like 50 people one night. Have anybody in Israel did what I did? So you gotta know this is the one we're waiting on. Chef.
So we're mentioning being the kingdom, but we don't have a clear understanding what an actual kingdom is, because anytime the king is sent out representative, I dare you go against that word.
Tom.
Cut down immediate.
Tom.
Like they say, follow phone.
Right.
So we lack that understanding of our culture, but you just know he usually doesn't even come out.
Right.
But his representative, that's him.
Yeah. Like dad don't come up, dad don't gotta get off the porch. Dad don't even gotta get off the couch. Dad called a place from the couch. He got the trash. Then sometimes if he's upstairs, he'll send the oldest, but then I tell them kids clean up the kitchen. You play it like you, I ain't listening to you. Okay. Okay. Jamaya.
I got a funny story about it. So, all right,
real quick.
Real quick.
We're being at 6 o'clock.
I'm saying one of my homies, this is when I was in high school. So we chilling in the room playing the game. So his mom says, his dad's name is John. Now the guy, my friend's name is Matt. So his mom come in, John, I need you to come here and take this trash out for me. Me and Matt just going about our business, chilling, playing the game. John, can you come take the trash out? This thing I know I hear footsteps. Come to the room, he's staring at my boy Matt. He said, Dang, what? She called you. He said, when she called me, she said, you mean?
That was worth it. Oh, crazy. Where we at, Corey?
And he that seeth him that sent me.
He that seeth me, seeth God. I am God. No, if you see me, you see him that sent me. That means he's referring to someone else. He didn't say I sent myself. Yeah, I sent myself down here. Like, oh, when you see me, you see the one. Because again, we as a nation, we supposed to all have the same doctrine. If I come in, Virgil should smack fire out me if a homeless man passed my house and make it to his house. Virgil probably gonna go get him some bread. Be like, wait a minute, you passed Abijah's house? You was he home? Yeah, he told me to come see you. Virgil, what part of it? So Virgil's gonna go ahead and do the commandments, feed this brother, but then he gotta have a conversation with me and the other brothers. Like, this homeless man said he passed your house and you told him to come see me. Did you not have no bread? It gotta be, all of us got the same blueprint. We got the same constitution. You see a man hungry, feed him. You see a man naked, clothe him. We all supposed to be gods of this earth. Messiah says, didn't I tell you in your law? Didn't I tell you in your law, ye are gods, but you should die like men?
He said he got hungry. He's out on a cheeseburger.
So we'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. But where we at, Queen?
A light unto the world, that whosoever believeth on me should not abide in darkness.
Uh-huh.
And if any man hear my words and believeth not, I judge him not. For I came not to judge the world, but to save the world.
Is he talking about the whole world under the sun?
No.
Who is he talking about?
Israel.
Come on, y'all.
He that rejected me receiveth not my word, as one that judges him the word that I have spoken. The same shall judge him in the last day.
Did y'all catch that? I'm not judging you. The word that I'm speaking is judging you. Now, who gave him the word? So who's judging you? Read on, Queen.
I have not spoken of myself, but the Father who sent me. He gives me a commandment what I should say and what I should speak. So you're not even free to speak your own words. You are a servant. If you're a servant, how are you God? Because who gives the Most High commandments?
All right.
If your God receives commandments, I'm scared of you. My God, my power receives commandments of no one. He calls the plays. This is your son telling you over and over, I'm listening to him. After his resurrection, he told the sisters, I go to your father and my father. Let's finish this up, Queen. Not to be served. This Christian dogma got people blind. He's not the Father.
Verse 50. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting.
Grace is life everlasting. Baby, don't add to the text now.
And life everlasting.
Faith is life everlasting. Commandments is everlasting life. The whole word in Hebrew means life. Matazawa, the flow, the path of life. Commandments is life, not this grace, name it, claim it, God. My pastor said we can't do this. My pastor said this is sin. My pastor says, y'all seen that Easter play from that brother? Did y'all see that Easter program? It's like, is this your church? Is this your speech? You got women up there talking about, I got a fatty and Christ became a hustler. Is that how you told about your Christ? Christ became a hustler. This is your pastor. This is what y'all doing for Easter? The water about for that. So yes, we do believe that you have to believe that God sent him. So the church got that right. The beef for believe is correct. So the George, take us to, you have something? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
For I speak thereof, therefore, even as the Father said unto me, so I speak.
So all this red letter is not Christ speaking. All this red letter is the Father speaking. That's what's confusing the church. That's what's confusing the Christians. They're getting their doctrine from Rome, and Rome didn't understand the culture. So Rome is saying, thinking that Christ is God. No, he's speaking for God. He's telling you I'm speaking for him. So if he's speaking for him, he's subservient, he's inferior to the Father. So George, take us, I'm sorry, Shamoya, take us to 1 Corinthians 16. I gotta speed it up. I gotta go get my dog. I might have to have Shamoya finish this. 1 Corinthians 16:22.
1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 22. If any man love not the master, Adonai, Lord, the Messiah, Jesus the Christ, let him be a nothing, Maran, Abba.
This is the apostle. We're not sure who finished this letter, but it don't matter if Paul finished it or one of Paul's disciples. It's telling you, if any man don't love the Son, let him be cut off from us. So you won't, I don't care if the Most High put me to sleep and y'all carry on, I'll come back and haunt y'all forever if you ever have someone talking up here who don't believe in Messiah. No one ever, I don't even want you in the building, really, but we'll let you in this building to try to save you, but you ain't gonna come here speaking. You have nothing to say to me if you don't believe in the Son. The elder said, you got a spirit on you, you have a demon on you. What you going to tell me until you get that demon out of you? I don't hear what you got to say. All the apostles said, love the Son because he paid our way. Read that again, out.
1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 22. If any man love not Yahushua, let him be Atima Maran Atha.
You do have to believe on the Son, family. Christ, church got that right. Church got that right. You have to believe he is the only begotten Son. Sister Joyce, take us to 1 John. 1 John 2. We almost home, I believe. 1 John 2 and 21.
But because ye know it, and that no lie is of this. Who is a liar, but he that denieth that Yahushua is Mashiach?
Say what?
Who is a liar, but he that denieth that Yahushua is Mashiach?
So I ain't caught up on what you call him, because we all just waking up. I don't care about the name you're using, but saying that Yahusha, Yahushua, Yasha, saying he's not the one, you got to get away from us. Read on, sis.
He is that denieth the Father and the Son. Whosoever denieth the Son, the same have not the Father.
So, come on, sis, hold on, stay with us now. That denieth the Son is the Father.
Whosoever denieth the Son has not the Father. But he that acknowledges the Son have the Father also.
Y'all see, y'all got this in your text. It's always a separation. None of the apostles said they were the same people. When he was here, he didn't say he was the Father. His apostles who he breathed on didn't say he was the Father. It's the Father and it's the Son. They're not the same. They're not partners. They're not co-equal. The Father gives the Son the orders. The Son comes, gives us the order. That's our kingdom. I got verse 29 highlighted just for icing on the cake, verse 29.
If ye know that he is righteous, ye know that everyone that doeth righteousness is born of him.
So it says, if you know that Messiah is righteous, everyone that doeth righteousness is born of him, or meaning you're the fruit of him. So what is righteousness? Y'all see these correlations? Am I stretching this? Messiah came to show us y'all can keep this covenant. And y'all broke your part, I'm gonna reseal it so y'all can do it right. That's why we love him. The water for that. Now, mother, we really don't want to put you to work, but if you want to get involved, we ain't gonna put no pressure on you. 1 John chapter 3. 1 John chapter 3, verse 22.
And whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight.
Verse 23.
And this is his commandment, that we shall believe on the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and love one another as he gave us commandments.
And then just finish it off, 24, please.
He that keepeth his commandments dwell in him, and he in him. And hereby we know that he abideth in us by the Spirit which he hath given us.
Here's John again making a distinction that we should believe, this is his commandment, that we should believe on his Son. So who gave us this commandment? The Most High. The Most High has given us commandment to believe on his Son, not to believe that his Son is him. Believe on my Son is my commandment. Then it started off, verse 22. We know that we have what we asked for because we're keeping commandments. Not because we got faith and we're sweating on the, oh, Father, come down now. But we need you now. Oh, Father, someone. No. He says, I know what you have need of before you ask. So you don't got to do all that whining and moaning. Father, light bills due. I know you're going to, ain't no sense to be worried about it. Father, thank you. That's how we pray. That's how we talk to him. Father, listen, my child support is running up. Father, give me a job. I'll take anything. Now, when he gives you anything, you just say, give me anything. So when he tell you go to McDonald's, go to McDonald's. That's how we pray. Thank you for that, mother. Back over to 1 Peter 1:13. Nahum, 1 Peter 1:13. We do believe in the Son. We just don't believe he's the Father.
Wherefore, gird up the loins of your mind.
Do what?
Gird up the loins of your mind. Yeah. Be sober and hope to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto you at the revelation of Jesus Christ.
He says, gird up the loins of your mind. Only an Israelite, only a Hebrew or Shemitic person will understand this, because we wear mitres or diadems. So here's Kappa or Peter saying, y'all keep wrapping your heads up, but gird up the loins of your mind for the hope of Hamashiach. So if you don't believe in Hamashiach, you don't have no hope. You might as well go ahead and keep getting high. Mr. King Judah with all your breakdowns, and I've been to Jerusalem, and I got sand from Solomon's temple. It don't matter. If you don't believe in the Son, you are doomed. All that shouting and singing you're doing is for nothing. The water for that,
It's a lot. I did hear you say that you don't have any reference or foul language simply.
Uh-huh.
But verse 15, but as he which has called you is holy, so be ye holy in all manner of conversation.
Calm, that's a good one.
So you can't look like the word.
Calm. Yeah, that's a good one. I missed it. Yeah. Be holy in conversation means set apart. So if they saying a bunch of D's and hells and all that stuff. No, you're not cursing, but you're sounding like them. How you set apart sounding like them? You got fringes and all these garments on, but you sound like them. You sound like the world. The water for that. That's a great precept. 1 Peter 5:1. And 1 Peter 5:1.
I have verse 1. The elders who are among you, I exhort. I who am a fellow elder.
No, I'm sorry. And I'm a bishop. No, your text don't say that?
Oh, no.
I'm archbishop. I'm pastor. That's not our culture. You're doing stuff that's not in our culture. Israel, Jerusalem know nothing about no deacons, no bishops. We are just elders. As you grow and mature, you're supposed to be an elder man and an elder sister. There is no titles where we come from. Ain't no where pastor got to sit here. Oh, you can't park there. This is the pastor. The pastor is a servant. He should be the one walking the furthest. Well, you need to walk all the chicken you ate. Where they get this mess from? I'm Bishop so-and-so, hailing from Bronx, New York. He got a PhD. He wrote this book. Here's John saying, Peter saying, I'm an elder. Peter, the one who walked on, have you walked on water? This man walked on water for a minute. He walked on water and he says, I'm an elder. He didn't say I'm a deacon, I'm a bishop, I'm an elder. Read on up.
The elders who are among you, I exhort. I who am a fellow elder and a witness of the sufferings of Mashiach of Christ, and also a partaker of the glory that will be revealed. The reason why I pulled this verse, family, I'm in my Phineas season, and anybody teach a false doctrine, I don't care if they're Israelite or not, I'm in attack mode. Here's Peter saying, I'm a witness of the sufferings of Christ. Peter is saying, I witnessed this man suffer. Now, Peter is writing at a time and he's sending his letters out. He's sending his letters out to people who can refute what he's saying. Other Israelites be like, man, that's a crop. This man ain't suffering nothing. So here's Peter saying, I witnessed him suffer. If he didn't suffer, if Yahushua, if Messiah is not the one, Peter will be found out quickly. Mr. King Judah with all your breakdowns and your lexicons. It's just simple reading comprehension. Y'all getting this? He's writing at a time where people are alive to say, Peter, you're lying.
No one beat that man. No one hung that man. Peter says, I witnessed it. I'm gonna get out y'all way. Let's go to verse 13. Verse 13.
Verse 13. She who is in Babylon, elect together with you, greets you, and so does Mark, my son.
So Revelation says Babylon the Great shall fall. So is he writing to Babylon? He's writing to Israelites who live in Babylon. He's writing to Israelites who stayed in Babylon, never came home. So he's writing to the church, the congregation, the family of Israelites who live in Babylon. Another witness that if Christ didn't suffer, it's other Israelites in Babylon could be writing letters. Peter is lying. No one beat no man called Yahushua. The fact that Peter says, I witnessed this myself, and now he's sending this to Babylon to other Israelites who don't believe in him. You could have been refuted these stories about him. Where are your letters at? No one stood up to refute the apostles.
Can I also add something to that?
Please let him use you.
How it says, I know this is like language in the New Testament of the elect, Jesus in Babylon, the elect. I know for me it was kind of cool to see. I guess initially I thought that word elect was like kind of a new phrase, sort of. But if you look kind of in the scriptures, like I know Isaiah is a good place. Isaiah 45, verse 4 says, for Jacob my servant sake and Israel my elect. So you see, like in context, elect are it's the Israelites. So you can't just be
Father, bring the help, Father, bring the help. Bring the help, Father. Babe, we're gonna be going on vacation by the month, boy. All praises. We don't make things up. We just find the witnesses in the text. When this text say my elect is not the church, it's not born again Christians who've been filled with the Spirit of the Holy Ghost, and I can speak in tongues anytime I want. I turned on this man's channel. I'm bored at work. I seen the Creflo Dollar page was live. So I said, let me click on the Creflo. Let me see if he's coming around. Soon I click on the live link. This man is up speaking in tongues for 10 minutes. And I says, all right. I said, let me turn away. I only want to get this in my spirit. So I go back. He's still speaking in tongues. So then trying to help, I just put in the comments, where's the interpreter at? This is out of order. You don't even know, like you're a pastor, Creflo, and all y'all, you don't know, even the text that you got says, if someone speaks in tongues, there should be an interpreter. How's this man going for 10 minutes and no one stood up to say what he was saying? Because it says tongues is for the edification of the body. Let me get out y'all way. Let's go to Revelation 1:9. Verge, Revelation 1:9. What happened?
I, John, who also am your brother and companion in tribulation, and in the kingdom and patience of Yeshua, was in the isle that is called Patmos, for the word of Yah, for the testimony of Yeshua. I,
John, who am the king apostle, the head bishop, I am. Did he say that? He said, I'm your what? Where's this?
First cardinal of St. Peter's Church.
We all have brothers. What is this? You call me, well, no names, chef. Call me pastor and call my wife first lady elite. What's that? John, I'm your brother, and I'm on the Isle of Patmos, suffering because of the Father and the testimony of Yahushua. It's a package deal. It's the Father and his Son. It's a package deal that don't make the Son the Father. So again, there's history that they put John in burning hot oil. No one's going to take this punishment for a lie. No one's going to take this. I got this book here. We can't get into it today, but we shared it for the men's fellowship. It's the stories of the martyrs. They call them Christian martyrs. They were Israelites. They tell you how they killed the Israelites, wanting them just to recant, to say that Jesus wasn't the one. Sacrifice to the Roman gods, and you go back home. And these Hebrews said, I will not. Here's John on the island of Patmos for the persecution of Christ and the Father. If you don't believe in his son, you have no hope, family. You have no hope. So,
Good question. So some might say also he was poisoned or something like that. That happened as well, along with him getting burnt too.
I can't say for sure. I would have to research it. So I can't say for sure. So the jury, take us to Matthew 11, just to finish off the belief part. Anyone who don't believe in the son family, stay far away from them. It's a spirit on them. Matthew 11, verses 2 to 5.
When John had heard in the prison the works of Yeshua, he sent two of his disciples and said unto them, art thou he that should come, or do we look for another?
John is in prison, but y'all know people write letters to people in prison, and John's hearing about the things going around in Israel. Now John is sending his disciples, go ask him, are you the one we've been waiting on, or should we look for another? Read on.
Yeshua answered and said unto them, go and shew John again those things which you hear and see. The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk, and the lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear. The dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them.
So the Messiah says, didn't answer. The Messiah is very slick tongue. He didn't give them a direct answer. Go tell John, oh, this is what I'm doing. That's going to be your answer. What y'all say earlier, you should know them by their fruits and works. So Messiah just answered, yeah, John, I got to be the one because y'all ain't been doing this.
I'm him.
I'm him. He said, have y'all been, I'm here because y'all ain't been doing this. I'm a miracle to y'all because y'all ain't been doing what y'all supposed to do. I should have came here and y'all should be like, man, John did that last week. Because y'all ain't been following what the Most High told y'all. Y'all looking at me like I'm a superstar. I'm telling you, you're supposed to be doing this. You don't believe in the son, you have no hope. Let's finish this up. Let's go through the covenant. This is where the church got it wrong. What y'all say the ABCs were? Admit.
Believe and confess.
Well, admit and confess, ain't that the same thing? Admitting you're a sinner is confessing that you're a sinner, right? So they got that wrong. The seed that they should have put is covenant. Let's go over the covenant. Right, take us to Psalms 50 and 5. Psalms 50 and 5. The C is for covenant. Psalms 50 and 5. Shema? Wait, this your coffee?
Yeah, it's like both.
Yes. All gas. Psalms 50 and 5. Read.
Book of Psalms, verse 5. Gather my saints together unto me.
Whoa, wait a minute. Gather my saints together. What does the word saint mean? Set apart. Saint means set apart. Saint and holy means set apart. But Abba don't let you guess. He about to tell you who the saints are. Gather my saints together unto me. Read on out.
Those that have made the covenant with me by sacrifice.
So saying you believe in a covenant. Saying I know Jesus, I bet you do. You know that Greco-Roman character they named Jesus. Saying you know Jesus don't mean you have a covenant. What say I missed it?
He must have got word.
Oh, praises. So saying you believe in Jesus don't mean you have a covenant. I'll read that again.
Gather my saints together unto me. Those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. If
you got a good Bible, it should have a footnote or a parallel passage for Exodus 24 and 7. Y'all got a good Bible? No. So, just so we are transparent and we're not twisting no text, let's go and make sure we know what this covenant is. Let's go to Exodus 24 and 7. Exodus 24 and 7. Read it up.
Okay. Verse 7.
And he took the book of the covenant by Moses and read to the audience of the people. And they said, all that Yahweh hath said,
We will do.
and be obedient.
Your ancestors sealed your fate right there. Because if they wanted to negotiate with Father, that's when you should have negotiated. Hey, Father, can we give you just one lamb a day? Because he says sacrifice in the morning and sacrifice at night. Keep the Sabbath, do the Feast of Tabernacles. If you didn't want to do all these feasts, here's your time to negotiate. Did our ancestors negotiate? They said, all that he say, we will do. So you're sealed whether you like it or not. You want to keep this covenant or get killed. That's your two options. Negotiations are over. If you don't know you're Israel, you're fitting the curses. That's what we're telling our people. We gotta be Israel. No one on the planet fit these curses. Show me your receipts. If everyone went through slavery, why you take pictures of my people? It should have been like, dude, we did this last week to an Irishman. If slavery happened to everybody, why you send our elders around as postcards? Why do you turn our elders' hair into seat cushions? Why do you take our grandmother's skin and turn them into shoes? Show me the receipts when this happened to everybody. This is signs of the curses. So the saints are us, the Israelites. I don't care what degree your pastor got. I don't care how many churches he done packed out. We are the saints of the Most High. The covenant refers to Mount Sinai where Moses got and the son resealed it. So we just brought out Exodus 24:7. Let's go to Isaiah 44:7. Zamaria, Isaiah 44:7. Isaiah 44:7. We're about done. No, I'm serious. I'm serious. Isaiah 44:7. Read.
And who, as I shall call and shall declare it and set it in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people.
I appointed who?
The ancient people.
The New Covenant Christians.
Ancient people.
The New Testament church.
Israelites.
I appointed who?
The Israelites, the ancient people.
The ancient people. Ain't nothing new about the word ancient, Pastor. What degree did you get? You don't know ancient from new? This is new, this is ancient. Ancient and new is light years apart. He's looking for ancient people. We are these ancient people. Read on, Ab.
And the things that are coming and shall come, let them show unto them.
No, those fish people that's over in that land called Israel, they're not ancient. You admit in your textbook that you just developed that country in 1948. Is 1948 ancient? So the ancient people are still hidden, but Abba's revealing us little at a time. 5 or 10 in Greensboro, 5 and 10 in Charlotte. He's revealing us little at a time. He says, should a woman give birth to all her children at once? It's kind of odd, twins, triplets. Now these devils with medication, women have 5, and that's out of order. The most you should have is maybe twins. I don't know about no triplets in the Bible. So Most High is not bringing his people back all together at once. So y'all are the beginning, but don't get cocky because you got to endure. You got to endure. Don't think because you're ahead of your family, you're special, because you got to endure. This thing is hard. This walk is hard. Let's finish this up. Jeremiah 31:31. Chef. Jeremiah 31:31. We are the people under the covenant. That's the ABCs of salvation. You have to have a covenant. Jeremiah 31:31. Read out.
Behold, the days come, said the Lord, I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
The new covenant is for who?
Israel and Judah.
Everybody's reading that together. We ain't making this up. Pastor, what you talking about? I'm a new covenant Christian. A new covenant Christian is nowhere in the text. The covenant is for specific people, not spiritual people, for physical people, ancient people. I'm making a new covenant with Israel and Judah. Read on, Op.
According to the covenant which I made with the fathers in the day when I took hold of their hands out of Egypt.
Have everybody, every nation been to Egypt? This is about us, family. Read on.
For they abode not in my covenant, not disregarded it, said the Lord. For this is my covenant which I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will surely put my law into their mind and write them on their hearts, and I will be to them our iron power, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not at all teach everyone his fellow citizen, and every word, and every one his brother, saying, know the Lord the Most High, for all shall know me, from the least of them to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their iniquities, and their sins I will remember no more. So if we're under the new covenant, if we're in a New Testament, why are y'all still preaching on Sunday? What are we doing in here? A covenant has terms. The terms of the new covenant saying y'all won't have to teach for 4 hours no more. All y'all gonna know me. How you under the new covenant? You don't even know what day is the Sabbath. You think SUN day is the day of Sabbath. How's SUN day the day of Sabbath? The Most High didn't create anything by the Roman calendar. They even acknowledge Sunday to be the first day of the week. You know Sunday is the first day of the week. He said you work 6 days and rest on the 7th. Sunday is the first day. So Pastor, if you're under the New Testament, show me the terms. What terms are you meeting? You're going to Moody and all these schools to learn. You can't be under the New Testament. Somebody take us to Hebrews. Who next? And take us to Hebrews 8 and 8. Hebrews 8 and 8. Same language in the so-called New Testament. It's not a New Testament. Hebrews 8 and 8.
Hebrews chapter 8, verse 8. Because finding fault with them, he says, behold, the days are coming, says Yahweh, the Lord, and I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. When the text say he found fault with them, THEM, who's the them? Not the covenant. Why would the Most High give us a faulted covenant? Why would he give us commandments with faults in it? That's how the pastors teach this. See, that first law had faults in it, and he knew no one could keep it. He's going to give me a contract that he knows I can't keep, not 1 time, but 2 times. Are you kidding me, Pastor? What man's going to tell his son to do something he can't do? Maverick, go out there and cut the grass before I tear you up. Maverick's in Pampers. You go hit that baby if you want to, diapers going to be at your house. You can't tell a child to do something you know he can't do. By the time your child is like 6 or 7, you know if he's smart or not. Parents, us parents is going, y'all Nils just keep laughing, but because y'all got y'all children here. Us parents, we know. By the time our child is 5, 7, like, yeah, baby, I think this ain't gonna be the one. He over there trying to stick a finger in a light socket. Parents, no, they're gonna say nothing, but they're gonna be the bedroom lady. That's your side of the family that came from. Now when you're gonna get down kind of slowly, nah. That's how. So our Father didn't give us a commandment. He didn't give us a covenant full of faults. Pastor, you're a pastor. You're blaspheming now. To blaspheme the Holy Ghost is the Father. So you can tell me in your church, he knew no one could keep all those laws because those laws had faults in it. No, the faults were found in us because Adam passed the faults down to us. Read it again, Op. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 8. Because finding fault with them, he says, behold, the days are coming, says Yahweh, the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel, the house of Judah. You know?
Uh-huh.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt.
So did your text say spiritual fathers there? Because church says spiritual now. It ain't about no bloodline, it ain't about no Abraham, because Abraham received the promise by faith. He still has sons from his loins. He didn't have spiritual ghost sons. He had sons from his loins. Abraham had faith and he obeyed. So these ain't no spiritual sons and spiritual fathers. These are physical people. Read on, Al.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they did not continue in my covenant, and I disregarded them, says Yahweh.
I sent them on slave ships. I sent them to America to learn that the earth is round and the earth is spinning. This is your punishment. We got to recite this mess to get a diploma, to get a job for $8 an hour. Now we all confused. This is your punishment because you didn't want to listen to the Father. Read on,
Verse 10. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said Yahweh. I will put my laws in their mind and write them on their heart.
I'm sorry, I will put new laws.
No, I will put my laws in mind.
He didn't say new laws. Pastor, where are you getting your doctrine from? Pastor, you are L-I-A-R. You are a liar, and you're saying the Father is a liar. His covenant, his commandments, his law is not done away with. Read on,
I will put my laws in their mind, write them in their heart. I will be their God or their I am. They shall be my people.
The whole world is my people.
Dang.
Y'all sharp today. That's my queen. That's my wife. And I'm stick with her. But family, listen, we all having fun in here. We're trying to have a good time here, make this palatable. What letter are we reading?
Christians hate.
So, babe, what happens, babe? My wife is a postal specialist, postal expert. She's been postmaster at one of y'all greatest universities. Baby, what happens if you go and take someone else's mail? I'm talking about a private citizen goes in someone's mailbox and steal their mail.
It's a loss.
It's mail fraud. So to put this letter to the Hebrews on Sunday church and all Christians, you're committing mail fraud. It's spiritual now. Everything is spiritual because Jesus Christ came in the whoso also of the Father. But the text keeps saying fathers, fathers, fathers. Egypt, Egypt, Egypt. Were there spiritual slaves in Egypt? Pastor, where are you getting this information? You are getting your doctrine from Satan, and you don't realize it.
Slavery is fine.
This is serious. That's why I'm telling y'all, stay prayed up and fast up, because when you deal with these people, they have spirits on them that they don't even understand. You've been shaking and falling out in that church. They ain't nowhere in the scriptures. Show me where one of the apostles did that. The boy fell out when Paul was preaching. What did Paul do? Fires up. It wasn't no run around, touch 5 neighbors. Where are you getting this from? That's Satan running y'all churches. So when you deal with these people, be what you say, baby, consider the audience. And if you're around men, be careful, because that spirit will come up. What, Jamaria, what that man tell you? I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. When you start telling them the truth of this word, that spirit in them comes out. So make sure you know where to exit at, and make sure you got your second girlfriend with you. Because these people will put hands on you. It's not them, it's the spirits in them controlling them. I'm not playing about this. That's what, we are the battle axe, but right now, let's move with Messiah's wisdom and try to reach these people. But it's going to be come a time where I'm going to have to hop off Vert's shoulder and I try to be nice with you. It's going to be times when these sisters are going to have to throw some hot grits on somebody. I've been trying to teach you with this Bible, not that spirit coming out of you, because you ain't about to hurt us. We're not that group. You're not about to hurt us and back us in a corner. I'm trying to give you this word with love, but if that spirit comes out you and overtakes you, I'm gonna calm you down.
Yeah. See, I really got it.
Go ahead, Reg.
The water. If you go back to, just go back to that Jeremiah scripture, and then read that 35 and 36 to let them also know. Go
Jeremiah
back to those
31,
ordinances.
you mean, what do you say? 36, it's 35, you said?
That Jeremiah 31, but read 35, 36. You know what to do with that.
Yeah. I was trying to cut things short. You see, y'all put it on me, but it be the congregation. I know y'all want to go home and watch Real Hollywood Housewives. I'm trying to get y'all out of here. Jeremiah 31, 35. Bring it out, option, y'all.
Let me get there real quick.
How you gonna recite it? Ain't got it out.
Hey. Because I wanted you to bring it out because I got this scripture from you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But you're right, though.
Go ahead and read when you got it out.
And it says, Jeremiah 31, 35. It says, thus said Yahweh, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. Then Yahweh of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. And so you can break that down, further, but we can look up in the sky and see the sun, moon, stars, those ordinances. As long as they still there, his seed is still there before him and still his people. But not only that, but we can show people and tell other people they also benefit from looking up at the sun, moon, stars, and they also know, oh shoot, he has a people. It ain't us. He's still with them.
Absolutely. That's why we don't worship the moon. The moon is a clock to us. And the Most High told us in that prophecy right here, I'm mad at y'all, and I'm going to allow y'all to go through some hell. I'm going to allow you to see them boys shot in the head on camera. I'm going to allow you to see these daughters being kidnapped and their organs being sold. Y'all going to see some terrible things, but as long as you see the sun and the stars, take hope that y'all still my people. I'm just mad right now. So that's why we make a big deal about seeing that new crescent. Because if you don't see that new crescent within 30, 35 days, we need to start praying immediately. It's like, it's stat. Chef.
We shall keep simple. If the son ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing, his car breakdown, and I told you, you be out to drive with the ice on the car. Hey, mom, dad, can you help me out? You just had this conversation. You have to figure this out. So you mad because you haven't figured it out, but I gave you the playbook.
Right.
I gave you the instructions.
Right.
You decide what to do otherwise. So you got it. Take the rail.
Right.
But you had to deal with the consequences. You can choose the choice. You can't choose the consequences.
And that's been the rhetoric from the Most High from the beginning. I give you life and death. Choose life that you may live. And our ancestor took his grace for mercy, and he's going to come save us. And Israel, the great nation, we never going to be defeated. And the Father says, I'm going to let y'all be defeated. Let's go to Hebrews 9 and 15. Hebrews 9 and 15. So the covenant old and new is between the Israelites, who are called saints, not the Christians, not the First Baptist Church. The Hebrews, the Israelites, have the covenant. Hebrews 9 and 15. Virg?
Real quick, that letter or Hebrew in the beginning, I was taught that no one knows who wrote that, but it's our It's for us, but they don't know who the writer is. Do you still?
Yeah, they did the theologians did textual criticism, and the opening of Hebrews chapter 1 is not like Paul's other letters. And in Paul's other letters, his intro is Paul, an apostle of Jesus Christ. Well, he wouldn't say Jesus Christ, but Paul, a servant of Yahushua and of the Father, blah, 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 blah. I greet you, salute you. And when you get to Hebrews, it just opened up God at sundry times. So it was like Paul writing style either changed drastically or one of Paul's disciples wrote this letter. But for our intents and purposes, it still was labeled to Hebrews. So it's like, how you reading this in church if you're not a Hebrew? So whether Paul wrote it or not, you shouldn't be reading this letter if you're not a Hebrew. So yeah. Somebody else? So let's read Hebrews 9 and 15. This is a staple, maybe a shocker, but it's a staple. Hebrews 9, where we at? And so Verge, Hebrews 9 and 15.
And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by the means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament.
Wait a minute. For this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death, who is the mediator they're talking about? Yahushua, right? Then it says, so by means of death, only one man died for us, right? So the mediator is Christ or Messiah, right? Verse, keep going.
For the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament.
So for the redemption means to redeem the transgressions, or to redeem those under the first testament. Who was covered by the first testament? Y'all reading the same text? Read it up.
They which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance.
This is only Israel. This is only the promise, inheritance, testament refers to the Hebrew Israelites. Lovers or haters is the text. This has been in your Bible the whole time, Pastor. What are you reading? Oh, you got to stick to your curriculum. Grace and faith, grace and faith, grace and faith. Nothing you preaching is in this Bible. We finish that up? Go ahead, let me use you. You good?
Yeah, I read the whole thing.
All right, Sister Joy, take us to John 5 and 46. The C is for covenant, family. Covenant requires action. Covenant has terms. Absolutely, y'all go ahead. Gerald?
No, I was about to say, and that promise, you can connect that to the Romans 9, 1 through 5. So, listeners will understand what that promise is. But that's all I was thinking.
And just, you all up in my notes, because if it wasn't clear, we're going to go to John 5 and 46.
John 5 and 46. Had you believed Moses, you have believed me.
Had you believed, this is red letter, right? Had you believed Moses, you would believe me. What was Moses talking about? And the law is a metaphor for what? Covenant. So Moses kept trying to get y'all to keep the covenant, and I'm trying to get you to keep the covenant. So there's no way around it. Covenant means contract. Contract has terms. You want to get hung up on the pagan word law, and I got freedom in Christ. All right, let's see how that freedom ends up. The freedom is we're free from death because we keep the law. We're free from fire because we keep the law. That's the freedom they was talking about. If you're not keeping a contract, you ain't free. Let me just bring this up. I got to go get my dog for they close up and kept my dog. They go to Galatians 3:15, is it? For you are not under the law, you're under grace. And they misunderstand what Paul is talking about. Right now, all of you in here under my voice, you're not under arrest, are you? You're not in handcuffs, are you? Are you free to steal? Are you free to rob? That's what Paul was talking about. We still have a contract, But because of our sins, because the Levites dropped the ball, the Levites didn't do their job. The Most High is not charging you fully what you're doing. But we're over here because of sin. We didn't know we was Israel. We didn't know we was Hebrews because of the contract. Church missed that. Chef?
Drive on the street, slip under the car, as long as you're doing the speed limit. You're not condemned by the law. We want to make everything excellent and spiritual.
It's not deep.
It's not.
The cop pull you over, you know you had your speed control set at 35. The cop pull you over, you like, what would you? I got you doing 40. You's a lie because I got my speed control set to 35. So you're not under the law of, you're not under that traffic law of speeding because you wasn't committing a trespass. So if you want to be free from condemnation, keep the contract. Keep the contract. And just for a future reference that this law is going to be here forever, whether you accept it or not, let's go to Ezekiel 44. Where we at? We're back to the top. Queen, let's go to Ezekiel 44. It's 44 and 9. This is a future tense we're about to read.
Ezekiel chapter 44, verse 9. Thus saith the Most High, thus saith the Lord God. No stranger uncircumcised in heart, nor uncircumcised in flesh shall enter into my sanctuary.
Wait a minute, Queen. Spiritual circumcision. No stranger uncircumcised in the heart, that's the spiritual part, or the flesh can come inside my temple. This is a future reference. Even the strangers who are attached to us, the males still have to be circumcised in their bodies and in their heart or their minds. So, Pastor, what you've been reading about circumcising prophets is nothing, and then this is spiritual circumcision. Here's a future tense that if you're not circumcised in your mind or your heart and in your body, you can't come inside the temple. Are we reading the same thing? Read on, Queen. I see you, Mom. Finish this verse.
Shall enter into my sanctuary, and any stranger that is among the children of Israel.
So I'm just going to, the stranger got to be circumcised, but not Israel. What sense does that make? He's saying circumcise the stranger in flesh and spirit, but Israel won't have to be circumcised. It makes no sense. So physical circumcision is necessary. All of us brothers in here, we will be cut again, just like the children of Israel were coming into Canaan. We're going to be circumcised again by the Messiah. Zamaria?
Yes.
I can't prove it, 5. I can't prove it, but I think the witnesses lead to that.
My original question, just my understanding, real, what are the indicators that you know that this is a prophetic reference or something to come in the future?
Go back to verse 1, 44 and 1. Then he brought me back the way of the gate of the outward sanctuary, which looks towards the east, and it was shut. Then said the Lord unto me, this gate shall be shut, it should not be open, no man shall enter in by it, because the Lord, the God of Israel, have entered in by it. Therefore it shall be shut. It's not talking about the Most High, Yah. It's talking about who? Yahweh Shai is coming through this gate. So Messiah is coming through this gate. This is a future reference.
Kind of got to go back.
Right.
Really get it.
Because when Messiah walked, we didn't have a temple anymore. That temple was Herod's temple. No Nazarite went into that temple. Only the wicked Israelites used that temple. Nariah?
It's showing you the established
Of the temple.
Messiah comes back. We're not doing sacrifices right now. We did not atone.
Right.
But when he comes back, we're going to be sacrificing again.
The priest.
Which said done away with.
Right.
They're coming back.
Right. The Levites going to be set up again and sacrifice it for sins when Messiah is here. You got to go back to like verse chapter 40 on, and you get the whole picture. But this is Messiah's coming back with Israel, and he's reestablishing the order that Moses got. So no way around it. You're not getting away from the covenant. This covenant is for Israel. But we just read about the strangers. Didn't you read the strangers, Queen? So it leaves us, what about the Gentiles? Because the promises say the nations we serve are going to serve us. So these brothers are like, no, it's about Israel. Israel only. Israel is going to be saved. We can't serve each other. That wouldn't make sense. How I'm going to serve you and I went through the same captivity as you. So Gentiles are going to be part of the covenant, but we got to put it in context. Let's get these last three. Isaiah 2, Zechariah 8, and Zechariah 14. We're going to put the Gentiles or the strangers in proper context. They're part of the covenant, but it belongs to us. Don't make them equal to us, and we're not going to be treating them less than human like we was treated, because that's not holiness. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2, who got that? Shimon.
And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh, the Lord's house, shall be established in the top of the mountain, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the Elohim of the God of Jacob. He will teach us his ways, and we will walk his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law.
Walking his path is an action. The Hebrew word is halakha. Walk means you got to do something, not name it, claim it, faith and grace. Walk in his path, you got to do something. If it wasn't plain enough, he said they would teach what?
His law.
Zion would teach the other nations the law. So the nations who submit to our king and recognize us as the holy people, we're going to teach them how to be holy. Teach them how to be holy. Who got Zechariah 8 and 23? Shimon, Zechariah 8 and 23.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 8, verse 23. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, Yahweh Tathon, in those days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold of all the languages of the nation, even shall take hold of the skirts of him that is a Jew in Howadiah, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that God, for Elohim, with our power, is with you.
In the last days, future tense, men are going to come to realize everything we've been learning. Islam is a lie. Christianity is a lie. Buddhism is a lie. The real truth is with the Jews, the real Jews, the Israelites. We're going to go with you because your God is real. Everything y'all teaching makes sense. It's coming alive. I'm grabbing your skirt. I'm grabbing your tunic, and I'm following you back to Zion. This is a future tense. It didn't say nothing about the Christian church, nothing about First Baptist, born again, none of that crap. I'm coming with the Jews, the Israelites, the real people of the book. Chef?
So they say that law is done away with. This is Old Testament. But when you build a house, how do you get rid of the foundation of the house?
It's impossible. It's impossible.
I know it's the most high.
Yeah, it's astute. That's what I'm telling y'all. I don't want y'all to think this is a carnal work. You have to be spiritually fed by the Most High. That's why I tell y'all to take fast days seriously, because the Most High will impart more wisdom. As you show the Most High you can handle things, he's going to give you more things, but you got to be ready for the spiritual attacks. I mean, I don't want to cry to y'all, but I'm saying this so y'all aware, not to try to cry to y'all. I don't have any days off. I rarely get a good day. Like, man, it was a good. I'm always. It's like my wife told me one time, because she had some history in the medical field. The human body is so wonderfully made. Your body will give you alerts that it has this dis-ease. Your body will give you alerts that it has dis-ease, and it's going to try to get rid of that dis-ease. You got a fever, but we give child Tylenol because you got to go to school. That fever was the system telling you it's something foreign. I'm trying to get this out me. So your body will try to fight off, but then if you're not listening, not getting those herbs, your body gets used to carrying that disease. You ever see someone with red eyes? Their body has got used to high blood pressure. your eyes red and popping out, your blood vessels is telling you, I need relief. But your body get used to carrying that. So that's how you got to be in this walk. Get used to the spiritual attacks. Don't get scared. And when thoughts come in, run to your Messiah. That's what he's there for. He has overcome the world. So you got to get used to this. Where we at?
Yeah, my hand up. So I was gonna say something else, but you just sparked something, Marad, that's more valid to the circumstance. So basically the scripture you brought out earlier, because when you talk about attacks, as an ex-Jehovah's Witness, I like to say, they got a nerve to think that they're experiencing persecution when people slam doors in their face and stuff like that. It's like, come on, man, you don't know what real persecution is. That ain't real persecution. But you referred to Jeremiah 3 earlier, and you brought out a few of those verses. I think you brought out verse 13, but verse 14 brought out Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Most High, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. And I think that's so fitting because, like I'm telling you, like for my experiences, probably the strongest persecution that I've experienced wasn't the outer external that came from the world. That's expected. You kind of expect that. It was kind of the internal that came from those whom I considered close, my own family, people who I considered true friends, at least I thought at one point. And when the Most High starts separating this truth, Christ doubled down on it and said he's splitting households, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, like this thing gonna hit close to home, So when your own close relatives start looking at you crazy, disowning you, and feeling some kind of way because you standing for the truth, the real truth, that's when you start understanding why Christ drew the line and said, if you don't do the will of my Father, you ain't my family, So I just think that's so fitting. That level of persecution can be so trying for people because, like he said, you got people like, well, let me go first bury my father, and let me first do this. You're like, no, you got more love for them than me. You ain't worthy of me. So we got to keep things in perspective and know that even if it's family, close people that we love dearly, if they don't grab hold and they become persecution, we got to be able to endure that. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that out.
All praises. I'm about to pass it off to the brothers. They're going to close out. Next one is Zechariah 14:6. I'll be back to fellowship, but just know that salvation is simple, but it's not an act of just sitting on your hands. You have to do something. So let me go. I'll be back in time to fellowship.
Who wanted to read that? That's the last one anyway.
14,
Okay.
verse 16.
Now,
And it shall come to pass, everyone that's left of all of the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King. The Adonai, or the Lord, shall be, and whosoever will not come up of all the families of the earth into Jerusalem to worship the King. The Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, that have no rain, there shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite the people that came not up to keep the feast of tabernacles. This shall be the punishment of Egypt and the punishment of all nations.
Yeah, so just to expound on what Zamar just read, the Jew ish. We're just gonna keep it straight up. If they the real people, why aren't they celebrating tabernacles, and why aren't we being? We read it now. Denver don't come. When I read it for myself. So, you know, that just those context clues when you read it and you put this thing together, showing that they are imposters and we are the true children of Israel. And this is how the order is going to be when the Most High reestablishes us as the head and not the tail. And so whoever doesn't come and serve when we're in charge, the Most High going to deal with them accordingly. Anybody got anything else?
Go back to chapter 8 and read that. Is that, oh no, is it Isaiah 2? Isaiah chapter 2, 2 and 3 real quick. Just read it real quick for me.
Shema, y'all. The book of Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow unto it.
Stop right there. What y'all think that means? Read it, Zamaria. Read it.
It shall come to pass.
Need your mic out. Need your mic.
Give him that.
And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of Yahweh's house shall be established in the top of the mountains. So, okay. And shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow to it. So I think it's exactly what it says. Like they're going to be the ones that is exalted above all the other nations.
That's true. What did you have, Anthony?
I was thinking.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Maya, you need a mic. Maya, you need a mic.
What he's saying is all the nations are gonna be gathered. Because that's where Jesus will set up his kingdom. On Mount Zion. And all the nations is gonna be gathered together when he set up his kingdom. That's where they will be judged.
So the point of it, I mean, everybody's mostly saying it correct, but I just wanted to point out that when it's saying the mountains and the hills, that's just metaphors for kingdoms, metaphors for government systems. Like right now, we have like America, then you got China, you got Russia. So some people be wondering, like, are other kingdoms or other governmental systems or whatever the case may be will still be going on? But it's showing you that there will be other nations and kingdoms out there, but his is above those. Yeah. And then they have to follow his order in order for their order to continue. And there's more precepts for that, but it's just something that I know we read those words like his mountains and hills and these and that. And sometimes those things go over people's heads, but those would be those ones where they expound later, the ones that didn't touch his people that are allowed to be quote unquote saved. So some out of those nations can serve us. Those nations will go back to somebody. Obviously, they're going back to their land because it says if they don't come to Zion. So they'll go back to their land and live just like we live over here and they live in Russia. They'll do the same thing there. It's just that our kingdom will be the head and not the tail.
You ain't got to go home.
Real quick, Joe, real quick. I'm going to say this and let you flow. Verse 3 expounds on what y'all were just talking about. It tells you clearly. It says, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways. So over here in America, Christian state, we know in Jeremiah, America gonna be destroyed. So that's gonna be gone. But in the other nations that the Most High spares, like China, they worship Buddha over there. And you know, other countries, India, they got thousands of gods. You see what I'm saying? But what this is saying in verse 2, when Yahushua or Christ comes, he's going to crush their idols. And he's going to establish the Most High's ways throughout the earth. So with that being said, the nations are going to gather to Zion so they can learn of the Most High's ways to take it back to their lands, so they'll receive rain when all the feast and appointed times come. Does that make sense? Okay. And he will walk, and we will walk in his paths, for out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. Where is it going? To the four corners of the entire earth. Go ahead, Gerald.
Yeah, Salakia, just to add to what you guys are bringing out, Daniel's prophecy kind of goes into the glimpse of what it would look to support what y'all saying, Daniel 7, 11 and 12, because he's seeing the prophecy of the ending of the judging of that beast, that Rome beast that's going to be dealt with when Christ come to judge. And Daniel 7 just quickly speaks about, I beheld, Daniel 7 verse 11, I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. That beast, in contrast with study, is that Revelation 17 scarlet colored wild beast that Christ is going to fight along with the false prophets and the kings of the earth. But here's the kicker, verse 12. As concerning the rest of the beasts or the other kingdoms, they had their dominion taken away. So they no longer ruled the way that they typically had a rule, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. So it ties in to what you guys are bringing out. You know, other nations will be stripped of they won't be able to rule or have the same authority that they had like during these times at the end, once we are set up, the Daniel 244 kingdom. However, if they don't come to the mountain, to Zion, like they did during Solomon's reign, you know, and learn from God's people and take it and live by it and so forth. If they don't, they will be plagued, you know, their reign will be stopped, stuff like that. So we can see it consistently throughout the prophets that, yes, there is a judgment that takes place when they get corrected and lose their positions, their power they once had. But if they don't fall in line, it's going to be a further judgment that can't be undone. Just wanted to add that.
Because right now you see that in reverse. Like whose system are the whole world run under right now?
Rome.
Y'all notice that? Like what I mean is the people that's even the people that say, you know, they're Israel now, right? But they have parliament and government and senates. All of those things is established from Rome. Like you don't see anything about, oh, we voted and we chose King David. It's no democratic election in the Bible. So that means that they're following Rome. The school system is following the Greeks, which the Romans took over from the Greeks. So Rome is the school system we're following, the political system we're following, and then Sunday church, the religious system you're following. All of those things is from Rome.
Roman Catholic Church.
So that whole order, the world is controlled by that fourth beast, that beast that was unlike any other. And once our turn comes back, now instead of all nations following after the ways of Rome, they will follow after the ways of Zion. That makes sense? So with that, I didn't have anything. If you got something, that was his last Yeah.
Did he not want us to?
I thought that
Okay, yeah,
was
I think that was just a
think
wrap
that,
up.
I said, I think that's just a review.
Yeah, I think that's just a review.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
I was just gonna add to what you were saying. We operate under LIBOR, London interest. London interest banking offer rate.
Right, because like I was telling the ops last week, London is the financial capital of the system that we follow right now. And this is pretty much DC is the military capital and the Vatican is the religious capital, but they're all the same. It's all still Rome, actually. But yeah, they're all the same. So yeah, that system is controlling the world one way or another right now. And once that system is destroyed, there'll be a new order set up. And then at the same time as that new order being set up, the Most High is going to set up his order that will last forever and ever. That's in Daniel as well. Anybody had any final comments? If not, we'll get up. Oh, go ahead.
I think we finished first.
What was that? Go back to it.
Which first. That was what we talked about. Whosoever is seeing the transgression also the law, or seeing the transgression of the law. But John.
Go back to
14.
I didn't think so. Go to the orange bar. That one right there. We got John 14 and 6 and Deuteronomy 7 and 9.
Oh, I thought that was go ahead.
You want to read? You want to bring those out?
Yeah, we can go to John 14, 6. Yahweh said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. And then Deuteronomy 7 and 9.
So pretty much Yahweh Shah saying, just like we was talking about earlier, enter ye into the straight gate, but he's saying, I'm the door to that straight way. So you ain't getting to the Father unless you come through me. That's why he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Go ahead.
Know therefore that Yahweh, your Elohim, is God, or the Almighty, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. I think that pretty much is finishing off the laws. What he establishes is not done.
Right.
It's from generation to generation. That goes to that perpetual, that goes to that forever. So it's not done.
Right. So to wrap up the ABCs of salvation, we acknowledge that we are the ones who broke the covenant. We broke the contract and we are paying for it all throughout the generations, because didn't the Most High say he will visit the sins of the fathers upon the children, even to the third and fourth generation? So just because we weren't there physically when the commandments was broken, the Most High kept revisiting those sins throughout the generations until here we are. Transitioning to the belief, we have to believe that the Messiah is the one, but we also got to believe that the power of the Most High is what raised him from the dead. Don't we also have to believe that Yahweh, first we have to believe that he is. And then finally transitioning to the covenant, as Zahaba read Deuteronomy 7 and 9, this covenant is what ties us back to the Most High. That's why Yahweh Shah shed his blood, which we know is the life that he shed made an atonement for us to be able to come back to the Father. I'll yield with that. You got anything to want?
No, if there's no comments or concerns,